All right, guys, before we start shooting, I want to talk about building up the ideal shooter. I don't want to say perfect shooter, and I definitely don't want to say this is the end-all be-all. Everybody's going to have a different preference on how they stand, how they present the gun up. But some of the key fundamentals to performing well, managing recoil, all that stuff, is going to be dependent on your ability to control with the support hand, as well as having an ability to reference your chest towards a target. So if I'm turning towards different targets, my chest orientation is going to be really important. As we move on to later chapters like point shoot theory, this is going to be especially important because we're not using our sights to actually line up on the target. We're using chest orientation to navigate that and be able to present up to the threat. So the way I do that, I want to make sure my shoulders are square. I want to make sure that I'm not wonky like this. So when I present out and I'm square to the target, I'm able to use this as a reference point, shoulders square, regardless of where the target is. Having reference points are incredibly important, not only for the draw, where I put my hand, but also how I present myself to the target. Example I like to use is a lot of jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai fighters will have an outboard rear foot, rather. What this does is allows for the shoulders to open up for punches as well as kicks, but that's not going to be our preference in shooting, because if I have my rear foot outboard like this, it opens up my shoulders, but as I point my toes towards the target, I'm much more square to the target and not so exaggerated. This is a much more comfortable shooting platform for me to where I can present up. I have an offset stance as opposed to isosceles, because as I start to manage this recoil, I don't want to be knocked back onto my heels. I think this is becoming a lot more commonplace for a lot of instructors to start teaching this athletic stance, because the benefits of allowing myself to have stability in the recoil, but also mobility, are really key to winning a gunfight. So after we shoot, if we get off the X or we need to move out of the way, I have the ability to have movement, mobility, as well as stability, getting behind the gun and not being knocked back by that recoil, which is really important. Now, I like to work the draw from reverse.